Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 171st episode of the Poorly Planned Podcast. My name is Benedict. You may know me better as BHL Hudson. I was going to say by my street name, BHL Hudson. I don't know why that came to my mind all of a sudden.
You might know me as by my alias on the streets.
We were talking about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. With me, as always, is my friend, co-host, and TV in the room, buddy. This bougie...
You best believe.
Motherfucker. I don't even know who you are anymore. You've got a TV in the room.
I've been elevated to another plane of being.
I'm very jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
sick.
my flatmate he got a new TV.
Yeah.
So that's been put into the living room. He had a big old TV. He's like, "Do you want it for £40?" I was like, "Absolutely, I do." So I got myself a big old TV right in front of the bed.
God, some friend making you pay for a hand-me-down.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. I was like, "Okay, you stingy bitch."
Well, today I was thinking, I had a little idea, because we don't really have enough mini reviews or news. There hasn't been anything that crazy happening, so I'm thinking we save the mini reviews, and we do a topic. But I was thinking maybe, because it kind of ties into the topic, we do one mini review that I know we've both seen. And then we dive into the topic. So today's topic is going to be best movie villains. Kind of sexy.
Ooh, okay. I see where this is going, I think.
And so we both recently watched the film Ted. No, we both watched Puss in Boots.
We did.
And we have not had a chance to talk, but I would like to
let's talk.
Discuss. So yeah, I was thinking that before we jump in, by the way, real quick, I just want to say it's been a minute since we opened a pod with a BHL rant, and I just have a very quick one that I just want to put out there.
It has been what the philosophers call a hot minute.
It has been boiling minute. You can skip ahead, by the way. There are time codes down below, but I just have a quick little thing that I have to get off my chest that there's a very obvious and easy solution to that I refuse to take. But basically, I live in a flat with 5 other people, right? And everyone's lovely. It's all cool. I'm not super close with anyone, but we're all very cordial and everything. Everything's good. The walls are very thin. Which,
yes,
for the record, given the podcasting that happens here, is probably they have more to complain about than I do. However, I have a grievance here, where
pretty
much every morning, someone here has an alarm set, right? And it's the classic, the super horrible Apple, like whatever, worst sound ever, right? It gets you up and you want to turn it off immediately. And now I don't understand what's happening, but for some reason, it goes on endlessly. It continues for like 20 minutes. And I don't understand. I have a few theories. It's either A, they're sleeping through it, in which case, not an effective alarm, turn it up. B, they enjoy the sound. It's horrific. C,
it's weird masochism.
They hate me and everyone in the building. I don't understand it. And there's something weirdly, horrifically awful about having an alarm that you can't turn off, especially when I'm in bed,
very true,
trying to sleep. And so I don't know, because
how early is this? Did you say?
It's not that early or anything. It's like 8, but usually it doesn't wake me up. Usually I'm like kind of up, I'm half asleep, and I like to chill in bed a little bit before I get up. Just like relax a bit. And then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, shut the. And I literally cover my face with my pillow, and it's
shut the fuck up.
And now, yes, the obvious solution is to inquire who this is and ask them to change it.
Exactly. I would say the obvious one is to go on a manhunt and break down every door until you find the culprit.
I'm just saying, my desire to not be that guy is outweighs my desire to sleep well at night.
A desire to not be that guy.
I don't know, because I remember also a girlfriend of mine, she would do this where she set 50 alarms, right? And then but she would that in itself was a puzzling experience, but she would turn them off every time. It'd be the thing would go off and she'd shut it off, and then it'd be 5 minutes later another one would go off. You know what I mean? I don't understand the continuous. So anyway,
I get putting an alarm and then snoozing and just chilling for a little bit. But I've also got a friend who he sets an alarm from if he needs to be somewhere at 9. Let's say he sets an alarm from 7 and then every 10 minutes until 9. I'm like, if you wake up at 9, surely that's too late. What are you doing? And why do you need so many alarms?
No,
there's no way. And if you're gonna sleep through one of them, you're gonna sleep through the rest as well because it's just gonna be continuous noise.
It's a very confusing system. So anyway, they probably all know about it now since they can probably all hear through the walls of this conversation. And I like to say that they're also lovely and great. But yeah, just had to get that off my chest. I feel like this is where this is a great place
where you can kind of vent.
Yeah, to vent about very minor personal inconveniences that could easily be solved offline. But anyway, should we dive into a little bit of... I was going to do something, and it was unfortunate what I was about to do, and I wasn't going to do it on purpose. I was going to say, let's dive into a little bit of Puss, but I genuinely did not intend it in that way.
Sure he didn't.
Should we discuss...
Here on the Poorly Planned Podcast, we always dive into some Puss.
Should we discuss in a filmic sense the released film Cat in Boots, The Last Wish?
El gato con botas, as they say.
All right.
Den bestålede kat.
Ooh, I like that one a lot more. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, which I remember we talked about the trailer very briefly, and I had little to no interest in. I'm pretty sure you were similar. We're both...
I had interest.
So, okay, yeah. We're both Shrek fans.
Don't avatar me again here.
Sorry, I'm painting you with my own brush here. But yeah, like it was sort of a... It wasn't that I thought it would be like bad, but I thought it would be quite missable and quite like a kids film that comes out and like, you know, who cares? Like a The Good Dinosaur.
Turning Red.
Turning Red was actually pretty dope, but whatever.
Okay, fine.
But then
it's flown under the radar is my point.
That's a very good point. But then I saw that it had gotten such hyped reviews, and I saw a couple of the memes and not even memes, but like, I hate to say Puss in Boots edits, but I had seen some like videos of
I won't lie, I've seen quite a few Puss in Boots edits
and genuinely
they're so cool.
I hate to give credit to TikTok for anything and like YouTube Shorts, whatever, but that is genuinely what convinced me to watch the movie, because I was like, the art style does look kind of cool, and like this villain seems kind of badass. I might have to do this. So I did watch it, as did you, and what a surprisingly wonderful time.
Such a good movie. Possibly one of my favorite animated movies ever.
Puzzlingly good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it should not have been that good. Like,
it's got the charm and stuff that you love from Shrek and the other Puss in Boots movie, but it also brings a sweet, wholesome message to the whole thing.
Yeah, I think honestly, it might be like, because I went back and watched some clips from some of the Shrek films and the first Puss in Boots, as you do.
What did you do yesterday? I sat alone in my room and watched Shrek clips.
Genuinely does not sound like a bad time, I'm not gonna lie. But
I won't lie, it sounds fucking dope. But
but like, those films, especially the first two, are like great and really funny, but they're a lot more funny than they are like... They're a little, I hate to say Family Guy-esque, but they're a lot dependent on like parody and like sort of like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say, because they're clever as well. They're very just like on the nose humor at times as well.
Yeah, and this one's less like pop culture referencey, sort of that Shrek style. It's a little more like a traditional animated movie, I guess, but like not...
But it's still got the... like where it like includes that whole world of other fairy tales with like the Three Bears and Jack... what's his name, Horner and stuff like that.
And it's still very funny. It's just a different type of humor, I suppose. But it almost feels, obviously it's made for kids, but it feels like it's also, it's one of those animated films that's made like so the adults watching with their kids and or without children, they're just like 20-year-old college students, can also laugh and enjoy.
Run a podcast.
Yeah. But just very, very enjoyable. And
so good.
Like, exciting. Like, this is the kind of film, if I saw it as a kid, that I'd watch like 100 times, because like it's like like for a kids movie, it's it's badass, if I do say so myself. It's dope. It's kind of fucking. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, the animation and some of the action scenes, like, I know it's maybe not the main like awesome point of the movie, but like the beginning fight with the giant. And he does the church bell.
Yes.
And that stuff.
Yeah.
Awesomely animated.
Anime style Attack on Titan type of opening.
Honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking.
And also his classic Puss in Boots song in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Me too. you love a good Puss song?
It's my favorite genre of music. I on the animation, I remember when we saw the trailer, we were saying like it doesn't look bad, but it's kind of like it's throwing us off a little bit because it's different from the original style.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I really prefer this actually because it's so much.
It's so good.
There's so much more style you can add to it. Again, watching a clip from the first movie, I was like, oh, this looks kind of like ugly now. I'm not gonna lie, like because it's like quite.
Honestly, I hate this.
Yeah, like this one, it's much more stylized and like colorful and like less realistic looking, I guess. And it's definitely to the movie's benefit. It's a like really fun movie to watch. We could talk about the villain. Spoilers, I guess, even though this wasn't. This I knew this before going.
Even though I'm sure everyone's seen these edits.
These really hardcore, vibey TikToks.
These trap remix edits of the Big Bad Wolf.
But it is Death is the villain.
Death,
who is
in the form of
a big bad wolf.
I assume the Big Bad Wolf.
And probably one of the best animated villains I've seen in a while. Like
I'd probably say of all time, almost.
In terms of like, yeah, just the voice acting, like the again that animation adds to it, and the intimidation, and like again, if I'd seen this as a kid, would have scared the shit out of me, which I know kind of love. Like kids movies should have that.
Exactly, and especially because I mean, and the movie plays into this as well. The fact that Puss in Boots is never afraid. You know, he never cowers.
That was a very questionable impression, but I'll let it slide.
Thank you. I didn't feel good
after
doing
not letting it slide.
But so that like you've never really seen him, you know, like you've seen him like worried about other people, but not really for his own, you know, health and like life. And then seeing him like just I don't know, it made an impact.
No, I have to say, I think I saw a couple reviews from some, I'm gonna say boomers, that were saying it's like it's too scary for kids, or like it's too adult, and like the jokes are, there's a joke at one point about drowning a puppy, which I thought was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing that like is so effective about a scary kids movie villain is that it makes it so much more exciting and satisfying at the end when the hero triumphs. Like honestly, I mean, obviously up to a point, but like kind of the scarier the villain is, and the more like impact he has on the main character and the children watching.
Yeah, the more like gripped in the movie you are, and the more satisfying it is when he hopefully triumphs.
Yeah, spoiler alert for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm not gonna lie, the final like when he finally kind of overcomes his fear and anxiety and whatever, and like stands up, like that's again, I don't know. I was genuinely, I don't want to say a goosebumps moment, but I was just like, that's fine.
I will definitely say a goosebumps moment.
That's
like,
really.
I felt emotional. I was like,
that's really fucking good.
And also the fact that it doesn't have to end in some like big old fight where the villain dies. This one, because he was very like conceptual and stuff like that, and he just like it also like he proves he was actually I don't want to say justified villain, but like it shows that he's not just some mad man like Jack Horner, right? Yeah. Whereas like he came to do something, and then when he realizes he either did it or it can't be done anymore, he's like, okay, live your life. Yeah. I thought it was wonderful.
It was really great, and I also think it's an interesting lesson for a kids movie. Obviously, it has a lot of lessons in it that are good for kids, and a lot of them are sort of the ones you've seen, like be less selfish and care about others and whatnot. But like the lesson about like overcoming your fear and like accepting life and all that, kind of a little bit more existential stuff.
Accepting the vulnerability of life.
Yeah, like that. I genuinely think that's really interesting. It honestly kind of reminded me of, I don't know why I thought of it, but do you remember in Kung Fu Panda 2, there's sort of like a weirdly like existential lesson about like overcoming your fear of the past and like letting life accept it or whatever, all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It was actually like I was like, that's a good lesson for kids. Like, again, if I was a kid, I would really, like, I don't know.
I would have learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, great. I don't really have many complaints. I mean, there are a couple, like, kids movie-ish moments, but it is a kids movie, so, like, I can't really complain. I do think...
I guess there was a few times where I didn't lamau sometimes, but, like...
I think the only thing that I would legitimately, and it's the tiniest nitpick, But they do the Three Bears thing where it's like too hot, too cold, just right. They do it so many times. They do the just right thing way too many times.
I kind of like it. It was kind of kind of endearing.
If they did it once and then at the end, and then because the big emotional thing at the end, and she's like, you know what, this family is just right or whatever. Okay, that would have been kind of, and you're like, I see what they did there.
But then,
they did it like a
that
billion times.
That would take away from the impact at the end. Yeah, and they didn't do it. They did it like 3 times maybe throughout the movie.
They did it at least 5 times. I was not a fan.
Okay, let's compromise and meet in the middle and say 3.
Anyway, so that's a huge problem. 1 star.
I don't know. I thought that added to the whole emotional climax there, where it's like, this family's just right. Because if they said that once and then she says that at the end, it'd be like, okay, weird thing to say, Goldie.
But it would be weird because you know the story of the 3 bears and Goldilocks, and you know that that's the thing.
You don't have to know.
What are you, a toddler? I think you just related to the baby bear and that you're a huge pain in the ass and an idiot.
And that I've got a great nose and I can sniff you from here, you dirty dog.
You're about to call me a dirty bitch, and I'm glad you steered away from that because that would have been weird and kind of erotic. Fine, agree to disagree. But agree to agree that it was a surprisingly great film.
Very, very good movie. What do you think of Jack Horner?
I liked him. I thought he was a fun villain. Big boy.
Me too. I liked him. And I also liked the little, like, shoulder cricket guy.
Yes, yeah.
He was fun. What do you think of Perito?
Fun, yeah, cute dog.
I like the swearing. That was obviously censored, but swearing in a kids movie kind of funny as well.
Was good, yeah. Very, very wholesome character who again got drowned in a river or whatever.
Mm-hmm. All in all, it's just a great movie.
Very enjoyable. Yeah. So what would you rate it?
I think I'd give it like a 9.5 or something.
Sheesh. Yeah, I'll go with a 8.9. Offer that just right stuff. But speaking of,
without the just right stuff, it would have been an 11 out of 10.
Speaking of Jack Horner and death,
probably more death, but yes.
Probably more death. We're gonna move on to the topic for today: best movie villains.
Ooh.
Timecodes down below. I have a little list here that I compiled and also looked at some of the most like iconic kind of things on a couple website lists.
Okay.
I'm gonna start off with. Sorry, I realized I tried to write Hans Gruber here and it autocorrected it to Hand Gruber, which is just a weirdly perverted sounding villain. Hand Gruber. You know what? I'll start it off with Hades from Hercules because I watched that recently. Let's transition from kids movies and we can kind of grow from there.
Okay, I like it.
Hades from Hercules. I mean, he is voiced by a bad man from what I've heard. James Woods is like a huge
James Woods.
More like James.
More like James Forrest. Am I right?
Anyway, he's like a big Trump thing. Anyway, regardless of that, it's a very funny. Voice acting performance and like kind of like the Robin Williams genie where like they animated around and like it was the animation combined with the voice acting performance. It just provides like a very very charismatic and funny villain. Not super intimidating, I guess.
No, but still a good villain. Yeah,
for that kind of film where you don't necessarily need like and also just super grim kind of finale there where he has like the pool of dead souls that always freaked me out when I was a kid. That
I forget how it ends. How does it end?
His girlfriend dies and then Hades is like, Hercules, if you go save her, then I'll let her go. But then like, remember Hercules has to swim through the like pool of dead souls and he's like slowly dying and aging and then they're about to kill. But then he's a god because he did a virtuous act. Anyway, that's what they say. Zeus is looking down. He's a god. He did a virtuous act.
He can go the distance. Fuck.
But Hades, I remember just as a kid, I was like, he was my favorite character in that movie because he was just like really fun to watch. So
yeah, he is fun.
Yeah,
and he's also great again in the Hercules TV show. Also great.
Yeah, which you swear is good, but I have my doubts.
I do swear. Same with Tarzan. Same with Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah,
and Aladdin.
And you haven't even seen The Emperor's New School. That's the best one.
I think I have.
It's the best one by far.
I disagree, but what?
I spit on that opinion. You don't love a bit of Kronk?
It's okay. It's just so overrated. I don't get cronky with it.
Okay, all right. You can go ahead. Don't get cronky with
it. All right, please. I think staying in the animated thing, because we are growers, not showers. We will go with a little.
Okay. Not sure I understand the transition, but I'll allow it.
Just because you said you would grow from here.
I see.
Please. I'm not the weird one here. Please.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit you with a syndrome from The Incredibles.
That's not a bad shout, you know. Pound for pound, worst hair in any film ever.
What? Pound for pound, best hair.
Sorry, actually, he does kind of. If you wanted to be Syndrome for Halloween, you could do that very easily.
I don't like this transition. He's got the worst hair I've ever seen. You could totally be him very easily.
I just realized that he's ginger as well, and you have a lot of hair. It's not even remotely in the same style. You could do it.
Oh yeah. No.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I used to whenever. I mean, I've watched The Incredibles so much. Probably in the 50s or 60s kind of region of times. And every time I would just be sitting there. I'd loved his what's the power he's got where he freezes time?
I can't remember what it's called. But
I know it in Danish, but not in.
Hit us with the Danish. Come on.
Nulpunktsenergi.
Just
I don't know if that's right actually.
That sounds right. 0 point energy.
Is that anyways, what?
Punkt also isn't that the word for testicle sack?
Punkt.
Right. 0 testicle sack energy. Bob Parr's nuts fly off. He's freed from all his lust. Sorry. Anyway.
God, Bob Parr does seem like the most lustful creature.
Don't call him a creature. But yes, his Nulpunkt is quite cool.
And I mean, I like his backstory. He's awesome, and he's just so. I mean, he's just a rotten dude.
Yeah, he's kind of like. He's a unique villain where he isn't like he is intimidating, I guess, but he's also just kind of like gross, like this gross, like
he's just this like
douchey nerd,
slimy dickhead. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also has like an interesting kind of unique plan that comes from the backstory. Also, he does have the "and got busy" line, which is pretty good, pretty nutty.
And when everyone's super, no one is.
I also enjoy his extremely violent death. I think that.
Oh yeah,
I think villain death should factor into it.
Mm-hmm. Where he they tie the whole cape thing together. Yeah. No capes. Yeah. That's my Edna. That's my Jack.
That's my Bob Parr minus the testes.
God, Bob Parr minus the testes sounds like a cool burger joint.
The testes are in the burger. What are we doing? I would agree though. Yeah.
Can I get the Bob Parr testicle special, please?
They're still attached to them.
Right up.
He just serves them with just 2 loaves of bread on top.
He just comes in and squats on your face.
No, stop it. Anyway, yes, I would agree. Syndrome, A-tier villain.
A-tier.
We're gonna go. Let's move into the live action world.
Ooh. We didn't stick with the animated for now.
I have a couple of Tarantino ones actually. I think I'm gonna go Clavin, Candie, and what's his name? That's a bingo. Hans Landa. Is that him?
Hans.
I think it's Hans Landa, right?
It's definitely Landa, I think.
Well, anyway, Landa, and you know, let's throw in what's Samuel Jackson's name in Django? I was genuinely, completely unironically about to be like Samuel, and then I realized how stupid that would be.
Was it not Jackson? What's Samuel L. Jackson's character in Django again? Oh yeah, Samuel L. Jackson.
That would be Samuel Leroy Jackson. It is Steven. Steven.
Is his middle name Leroy?
His name is Leroy, yeah. I'm gonna throw all of them in here as just extremely, I mean, very well performed on all accounts, and just like I think in it, those films taking place in real times in history, taking like some of the most fucking damn it, God, fuck. Sorry, 1 second, my headphones are fucked. Sorry, wait.
I just heard a doo-doo-doo.
Okay, we're back. God damn, I was making such a good point too.
These
These headphones fucking suck. They used to have like 6 hours of battery, and now they're worn down to like 1 hour. It's
But
very,
don't you have 2 pairs
irritating.
of those?
I do, but the other pair is for other things. It's a whole thing. I'll start using the other pair. Yeah, I put it on both of my nuts, and then I Bob Gruber style. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, so I use one to listen to music and the other one to erotically massage my testicles.
They're big enough to fit in this giant headphone.
Each earpiece is perfectly symmetrical from my testicle.
Anyway, as I was saying, a lot of testicle talk this episode. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I don't know, but I love it.
Setting these films in real time periods where there are some of the most evil people in history, like Nazis and slave owners, allows you to make some of the most like despisable, horrible villains.
Yeah, it's true.
And there's a lot of personality and like a lot of interesting kind of backstory, especially like Candie is also this like pretentious, but like doesn't really know what he's talking about, and he's just like so evil and like
again kind of slimy and but like he's got this I don't know, he's just I mean he is more like in Django. I find them to be a lot more like I don't know, just despicable and just awful people, whereas Landa is obviously a terrible person, but it is like a lot more I don't know, he somehow comes across as even more like intimidating just because he is so like I wouldn't say Samuel or Leonardo are particularly clever in Django, but the kind of like the intellect of Landa is just so good.
Yeah, I think they're not like bumbling, but they're definitely there's something very like there's kind of like a methodical precision to Landa, and also the way he like takes joy in his like evil acts. Exactly. How he's like. He loves when they're at the party and he's kind of like laughing at them, and he also makes them like go on in Italian clearly, even though he can tell.
Como? Aguarlami. Also the fact that he clearly is he's looking out for number one, in that he like the moment it suits him he just changes sides and stuff like that. Also kind of shows that again, man is smart.
Yeah, I'll make that deal. What about you, Udovich? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Eats microphone.
I don't blame you. So yeah, two great villains, and I would say personally the best Tarantino villains, because like who's really the villain in Pulp Fiction? They're all kind of terrible. Like especially the Gimp. God, for some reason I forgot about the Gimp. You know what? I'll say
Don't ever forget about the Gimp.
Anyway, go ahead if you have one.
I do. I would say again one of my favorite movies of all time. Mainly because of the villain in this. I'm going to say a little Captain Barbosa.
Who is Yes, sorry. He's not the tentacle man. He's...
What?
Sorry. He's the
Gents.
one he turns into a skeleton. Yes. Gents.
What?
Yes,
What's happened to you?
Sorry, I always get him and the tentacle man confused. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll throw both of them in there. Davy Jones and Barbosa.
All right. I'll let you have that.
Both amazing. I think Davy Jones is scarier, and but Barbosa he had this swagger, this swashbuckling pirate captain thing about him.
He had this swagger, this schmeat to him. You know what I mean? He does have the like kind of a coolness to him when he walks into a room. You know,
and like there's multiple scenes like, and I remember because my dad also, for lack of a better word, fangirled over him. In that, like, there's a scene where like they just shot at the Black Pearl, and like the main mast is falling, and all of Barbosa's crew are like running like headless chickens trying to get out of the way, and he's just standing there, moves one step to the left, and it misses him by like an inch. It's like, oh, Barbosa.
That's pretty good. That is worth a fangirling.
I'd say so. And he's also, I mean, he can lose his cool. That's when he screams, "Bring me that medallion!" You know the one.
I don't, but I will take your word for it.
I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request. Very cool Barbosa line.
I've got a jar of dirt. It's my favorite Barbosa quote.
So Barbosa, awesome. And then Davy Jones, also awesome.
I'll say visual effects wise, Davy Jones is one of the best characters in any film ever.
Yeah, he's just, and like, I don't know. Those two just, delicious. Then the next few, meh.
Delicious. To be fair, I think if you fried up Davy Jones...
You think he'd be #yummers?
He would be Yummers calamari. I'm a big calamari guy.
I'm a huge calamari guy.
You can't go wrong with calamari. Unless you put a bunch of...
He's also... Do you like crab claw? Because he got a big crab claw.
I do like crab claw. Have you ever, like, done the thing where you, like, have to squeeze the...
Yeah. Like, dude. Yeah. Do that to Davy Jones' massive claw. Oof. Just imagine all that juicy meat inside.
I was genuinely wondering, like, when is this going to turn sexual? Because I know it will at some point. Let's see.
Excuse me. You're the one who I was saying, he's got that swagger and swashbuckle. He's got that swagger and that schmeat on him.
That's what he's fucking got. Get it right. I'll go... I think I can do a little speed round here of kind of ones that appeared on all the lists that I looked at. Kind of... I'd say these are like top 4 most commonly referenced best villains, and like they're all great. I just don't have a lot to say. We got Darth Vader,
yes.
Voldemort, the Joker, and whatever his name is from No Country for Old Men.
Bardem.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
Bullets.
Shows our knowledge.
He walks up to Brolin in No Country for Old Men. Bullets.
I'm still very embarrassed that I watched that entire movie, and I swear to God, I thought Josh Brolin was Ethan Hawke the whole time. I don't know how that happened, but I genuinely couldn't believe it when I was informed otherwise.
When you were informed.
The police showed up? Sorry, sir.
Sir, I've got some distressing news to tell you.
You may want to sit down.
You're aware that what you just watched was not Ethan Hawke?
I go on a rampage?
It's not in control.
But yeah, I mean, Voldemort, just a classic, you know, also we can throw like Sauron in there, just a classic like fantasy villain, gross looking face, solid backstory. I don't think he's like he works perfectly for those movies. I don't think he's the most interesting villain, but he's so iconic. And Darth Vader, I mean, like maybe again it's because he's so iconic. I was never that intimidated by him. Like I know when people saw Star Wars in 1977, they were like, "Oh my god, like the most scary, intense villain." Maybe just because I'd seen him so much already, just in like, pop culture. I never really got like the scariness.
Nah, you weren't scared by the Vader.
Not so much, but still, obviously a fantastic villain with interesting backstory, even if it is kind of ruined in those films. Joker, what would you say is the best?
Joker. I would.
Also, sorry, I just remember this just absolutely terrible film student scenario that happened where we were walking to like a bar and the street was super crowded, and one of my film student friends was like, "This is just like that scene from the movie Joker." Everyone's on the street, and we all just laughed. It was like, "You cannot say these things. We're about to go to a bar."
God, this is just like that scene in Joker.
So much anarchy.
You know you're with the film crew when that happens.
I thought to think it was ironic, but also I couldn't say for sure.
I imagine you and the film boys do a lot of "I'm with the science team" kind of action.
Yeah, honestly, not far off.
Not far from the truth.
But who would you say is your favorite, the Joker, from the movie Joker?
It's gotta be De Niro.
I would probably... I mean, it's kind of hard not to go with Jared
It's gotta
Leto.
be Heath.
Yes, no, yeah. It's gotta be Heath.
I mean, I would go so far as to say Heath might be the best villain of all time.
He might. I mean, yeah, just like iconic, a great, design for that world and like costume and makeup, and then like the performance, the mysteriousness of his backstory. I'm not gonna lie, and I know obviously this was done because of his untimely death, but the way that the character like doesn't show up in the next film and is kind of barely referenced, and it's like hinted that maybe he escaped or whatever. I can't just like the way he shows up and then just disappears, like just like
and then just disappears. Yeah,
chaotic energy of it. Yeah, and so many iconic lines.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a big
I love
fan.
the choice of not having Heath Ledger in the next movie.
I realized that. It sounded, sorry, not like that. But,
Very creatively well done.
I also shout out. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is pretty good, and I mean Jack Nicholson also.
but I mean,
for all of them for the films that they're in.
I don't think there's been a single bad Joker with one exception.
Yeah.
Heath.
Heath.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But yes, very, very good.
And No Country for Old Men, obviously, he's great and an amazing
he's just
performance.
he's
and so
just insane.
one of the most intimidating. Like that's one where I genuinely, whenever he's on screen, I got like kind of like tense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh god, he can literally, as he does multiple times, he leaves it up to a coin toss to see whether someone lives or dies. It's like, and he's got that. Well, it was like a pressurized like.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Pistol or some shit.
Cow
like,
killer, is that what it's for?
Yeah, I think so. It's like
Brutal.
Now I don't know if you want to include this one because man has, I want to say, had a bit of controversy lately.
Are we going spacey?
Going spacey.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that coming. I did have, in protest of spacey, I did just write here on the list 7. But yes, a villain performance from a real life villain, it seems.
Yeah, I mean,
do you see he won an award recently in Italy? What the fuck?
Never have I heard of something more random.
But like,
Kevin Spacey just appears in Italy and wins an award.
Well, he did, and there's a video of him, and he's just like, he makes some joke, and they all laugh, and I'm like, what's happening here? How do you
what? How? What?
He's in like some super, low budget or like small production or something, and he won an award or something, and he just went and accepted an award, and I'm like, Spacey, the fuck? You should be in prison, probably. I don't know what the status of the legal stuff is, but
yeah, I don't actually know what the status is.
Do we have to say? I guess we have to say allegedly, but anyway.
But yeah,
on his performance,
very terrifying.
He is a terrifying man, and the mysteriousness around the character leading up to then his big reveal.
And then where you just like, just the most insane just walks in with like bloody hands. Yeah. Detective. Yeah. You might want to look in the box, detective.
Check out the box. Yeah, no, he is very scary, and he does very disgusting, scary things.
He does.
Speaking of real life villains, I have just put Jordan Belfort here, just because fuck that guy. Can I say?
I hate how successful he is now.
I do too. I as someone who really likes the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, he's in that film, and I'm gonna say almost certainly in real life, just a huge piece of shit. And the fact that he's awful. Like just gets to be like everything's just fine now upsets me, and that's why he's on my best villains list.
He's a villain of the system.
He's got that dog in him. I'm pretty sure that guy's made a dog.
I'm sure he's made a dog in him about that. Or did you know that Jordan Belfort was this fuckboy of the streets?
Did you know Jordan Belfort was about that action?
I thought you were going to say it was about that ass.
He's probably made one of those as well. If someone hasn't seen this guy we're referencing, this is very upsetting to hear, I imagine.
But everyone's seen him, surely.
Of course, you've seen the guy who goes, "What if I told you Tom Cruise had that dog in him?" Do you have any more? Or I have a little bit of a list here that I could just...
Yeah, just go for the list. I mean, if something comes up, I will just blurt it out.
We have Gruber. Hand Gruber. Hans Gruber from Die Hard. Just another classic 80s villain. He's just a creepy European man who... But he also has... It's been a while since I've seen Die Hard, but I remember he just he has like a very captivating screen presence from the great Alan Rickman.
Yeah. I don't remember much from Die Hard because it's so long ago since I've seen it. But
now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Mr. Potter.
Yeah, no, I can't. I got nothing. Speaking of, how can I transition this?
About to talk about O.J. Simpson.
The Green I was about to say the Green Gobbler. The Green Goblin.
The Green Guck Guck.
The Green Gobbler is just such a horrific porn parody title. The Green Goblin, who I feel like has made more of a case for being one of the best superhero movie villains with his latest appearance in No Way Home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where obviously he's great in the original films, but yeah, I think to reprise the role and to do it just as well, 20 years later, just perfect for the super cartoony, comic booky vibe of those films. Just this gross goblin. Sorry, I mean, like I was gonna say goblin looking
gross
man.
fucking ass.
He performs very well, and he has undeniably a super sinister face.
Sinister face and one of the scariest voices ever.
Yeah.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
Yours turned so strange. Yours was more Cleveland Brown than it was Green Goblin.
That is one of the worst insults you could ever give anyone. You sound like Cleveland Brown. A man whose show was immediately canceled.
Dude, it has 4 seasons. Did you know that?
How the fuck does it have 4 seasons?
Very peculiar.
He's the most boring fucking douchebag in the world.
Banging theme song, though.
My name is Cleveland
All right.
Brown,
Yeah, no.
and I'm on sabbatical.
I do also have here Amy Dunne from Gone Girl. Spoilers for Gone Girl.
More
Film I
like
watched
Amy.
recently.
More like Amy still have some work to do.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. Have you seen Gone Girl?
That's the one with Affleck, right? Where he cheats and then is framed for the murder, even though she's...
Okay, way to spoil literally everything about the film. the massive twist. Spoilers for Gone Girl.
I mean, if she's the villain, she can't be the one who dies immediately.
I guess.
You spoiled it yourself.
You've done me over here. Fucking clown. But just a very interesting villain in her, psychology, and she's like super evil, manipulative, but then she's also like very like vengeful and proud, and like she wants to like have things play out a certain way for her image and stuff. And yeah, just a fascinating. I know some people who say Amy Dunne was right for, doing all this crazy shit, and to them I say don't date me.
Please get as far away from me as possible.
Yeah. Affleck shouldn't cheat, but also should not be framed for
murder and like ruin his entire life.
Also, she murders like a couple other people, I'm pretty sure. So
she
I don't know.
not ruin. I mean, she does ruin. She also murders Neil Patrick Harris.
She does while he's orgasming.
Whilst he's in her.
God.
Don't do that to Neil.
My boy Patty Hay. Sorry. I didn't know where it was going when I started it. It came out really bad.
My boy Neil Patty Hay.
As his government name is, Neil Patrick Harris is just a nickname.
The other one brings too much power. Oh goodness, it's Neil Patty Hay.
Speaking of kind of psychologically interesting villains, the Armitages from Get Out, especially the daughter, just well performed.
Very true.
Creeps.
Very well performed. Yeah.
The T-1000. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna hit you with a Loki. He's turned into more of a main character now, but in the first few movies, very good.
Yeah, very. Again, less intimidating, more charismatic, fun to watch, sort of vibe, and interesting, sympathetic backstory, which now has led to him being a bit of a good boy in the movies.
Bit of a goodie.
The T-1000 and the Predator from the 80s time. I watched the first Predator film the other day. Very good. Mm-hmm. We can talk about that on the.
Is it actually? I've never seen Is that the one with Arnold Schwartz though?
Yeah. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
You are one ugly motherfucker. Can you believe that guy was the governor of California? That's crazy.
Man.
Anything.
That'll be you. That'll be. I'm gonna walk on Mars.
I'm gonna live up there one day. Kinda, monster sort of like stalking horror movie. Because just like the first Terminator, the first Predator is kind of a horror action movie instead of just like a straight up action movie. Yzma from Emperor's New Groove, great villain.
I don't know.
Bad
I think you got a weird soft spot for this Emperor's New Groove kind of thing.
And the last one on my list here, and it's not to say that we could definitely do a part 2 of this for sure.
I'm hearing part 2s.
I'm getting a real thing for the part 2 here, but the last one here is A film I have not actually seen, but let me explain real quick. This is a very strange story, but real quick. Okay. I don't know how to explain this without sounding totally psychotic and or really dumb. But I remember I had a very scary dream once. And it was, I can't even remember what was in the dream, but I remember when I woke up, I was like, I'm so sure that that's like a movie that I just dreamed. Like I must have dreamed a movie. So I Googled some of the stuff that happened in the dream, and this movie...
And it was Don John.
And it was 50 Shades Darker. I knew it. And it was this movie, and I came up with this movie called Misery, which was not anything like the dream. So again, I can't tell you what the dream was, but I read the plot synopsis, and it's just like freaked me out since. And the villain just sounds like a very scary villain. And I mean, since then, it's quite an iconic film. She won an Oscar for it, but it's the one, I don't know if you've heard of it, where, and there's also like, it's kind of pop culture famous, so there are like a bunch of parodies of it, but where this crazy woman, like basically kidnaps an author that she loves and like forces him to write her stories, and he tries to escape and she breaks his foot with a hammer and shit.
Oh.
And it's kind of like try to escape the house movie. It's based on a Stephen King book.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, Kathy Bates plays the villain. Anyway.
And James Caan plays someone. Yeah.
James, Star Trek: The Wrath of.
Right, so I'm gonna have to leave.
But yeah, anyway, that's my last one. A film I haven't seen, a character I don't know the name of, but pretty good villain probably.
But apparently a good villain. Ooh, I've got one actually. Before we end it all.
Before we end it all. Before we shoot ourselves. Probably can't say that on YouTube.
Before we take a group trip to the Nile River.
God, what an elaborate way to kill yourself.
Channing Tatum in The Hateful Eight.
I thought you were gonna say in
Bullet Train.
This is the end. Remember when he shows up in like a gimp suit at the end or whatever?
I do remember that.
It's pretty good. But yeah, Channing Tatum in The Hateful Eight.
That movie is the one that caused the most discourse between us in our entire friendship.
Really? Why?
I think so. Because like at one point I said like, it's okay, and then you're like, you said you loved it, you fool!
What? Oh my god, wait, was this a legitimate fight we had?
I think so.
I think, because we've had like 3 actual like serious fights in our entire friendship, and they've all been about something completely stupid. I remember one was when like I wrote on you with a marker, or you wrote on me with a marker, and the other got really pissed about it. And one of them I think was about this, legitimately. That's actually hilarious. You've just unlocked a memory that I had. Oh man. Yeah, you did say you loved it. Wait, if I missed. Starts over. Revert to 14-year-olds. Oh man, that's.
But anyways,
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just I mean, not at all a good villain. He shows up is supposed to be this dark, mysterious man and gets shot in the head immediately.
He does, which in a sense makes him the best villain if you think about it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Well, I also realized we've totally glanced over like, you know, horror movie villains and a lot of probably the most iconic ones like Hannibal Lecter and stuff. But there's always room.
But there's a part two.
Get ready for it. In the meantime, it's now time for
the Tom Cnews.
Now I have found an incredible headline here from delish.com. And you're buckle up for this one.
Okay. Okay.
Tom Hanks is deeply in love with the Tom Cruise cake. What the fuck?
What does that mean?
The actor described it as off the scale fantastic.
The Tom Cruise cake. Are we talking actual cake or are we talking bunda?
Are we talking huge ass? Oh yeah, Tom Hanks is deeply in love with the Tom Cruise cake he's gifted each year. So remember we talked about this bullshit where Tom Cruise like mails a cake to everyone every year or something?
I do remember. God.
And then I guess
deeply in love. God, imagine Mrs. Hanks just walking in and Hanks is just balls deep in the Tom Cruise cake.
Okay, we're talking about an actual cake here.
Yeah, I know how that sounds.
But in the meantime, he's eating Tom Cruise's ass. God.
Yeah. Would you rather fuck Tom Cruise's cake and eat his ass, or eat his cake and fuck his ass? One posed by Socrates.
Never answered.
It was his life's failure not being able to answer that one.
Both
But
were
Hank's
too good.
Both were addictive as fuck.
Hanks found the solution.
Do both?
Let's see here. We're still getting over how insanely delicious the Tom Cruise cake is.
But I cannot stop imagining this literally just being his bus.
But there's one actor who's so head over heels with the cake, they proclaimed that they would eat it as their last meal. God.
Imagine
Why'd you have to use the
people
word?
being like on death row, about to be put. You know how you get to request one last meal? Yeah, my last meal would be Tom Cruise's butthole, please.
He's more than happy to oblige. It's the most common death row request.
He's too altruistic.
Sorry, what is this article? That actor is Tom Hanks, and that actor is Tom Hanks, and he noshed on the cake. He absolutely noshed on the cake. Let me read this. This just gets better.
God.
Let me read this Hanks quote as he's looking at the cake. Look at it. Would you look at it? Isn't it gorgeous? This cake is so great, you can really only have it once a year, which works out perfectly because I don't order it. It arrives as a gift at Christmas.
It's one of those pornos where he's holding the gift and his penis is inside. And instead, Tom Hanks opens the gift and it's just
It's Tom Cruise's puss. Holy shit.
I never order it. It just arrives.
So apparently,
So ominous as well.
it's a white chocolate coconut bunt cake. What is a bunt cake?
A bunda cake?
A bunda cake. Oh, it's like one of those things with like the slivers. Oh my god. This may be the greatest piece of Tom Cnews we've ever had. Thank you, delish.com.
God, he noshes on the cake.
Oh my god. You can still purchase your very own Tom Cruise cake any time of year via Goldbelly. So I think we know what we have to do.
This keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh my god. Dude, fucking episode 200. We're eating the Tom Cruise cake. 100%.
Absolutely.
And then we also devour the white chocolate bunt cake.
And then we'll have some dessert with his actual cake later on.
I hate that my flatmates also definitely heard all of this. Wow. Brilliant. Good stuff.
God.
Well, I don't know if we're going
I was not expecting that.
That is... See, you know, a lot of Tom Cnews is kind of mid. We just Google the word Tom Cruise and hope for the best. Sometimes you get gems like this, though, and it's all worth it. Oh, Jesus.
I've never ever wanted to imagine Tom Hanks noshing on Tom Cruise's butt.
Holy shit. We're gonna go to some comments now on the latest pod. Jesus. Holy shit. My fucking sides hurt. Jesus, 18 comments. What the fuck?
18? What? What did you do?
ZJ says, nice way to start my weekend after I just finished some remote school because of snow. And last time you guys had Family Guys in mini review, you guys had watched the same episode, so your Family Guys are connected. They are. It's very scary. Also glad we could entertain you through the snow canceling school. I didn't even know that was still a thing that they did. Oh, that's cool.
Didn't even know snow still existed.
Alfeld says, can you do a video about your favorite videos ever? It's a great idea, says Daniel. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad idea at all. Josie says, I can now relate to BHL because recently I watched a movie alone in theaters. The Whale, the movie with Brendan Fraser, was in my theaters recently, and I asked some friends and family members if they wanted to see it with me, Only had a few days to see it, so I decided to go by myself, and the whole time I was watching it, I was relating heavily to BHL watching the Princess Diana biopic. Good movie, but it was so lonely. Boy, sorry for the whale experience there, but I'm glad that we can finally relate to one another. He also says, since you released the Pain and Gain episode on NMS's birthday, I wouldn't be surprised if you coincidentally reviewed the Better Call Saul and possibly Stranger Things waiting on you, BHL, on my birthday, which is in June. You know what? We can try to make it happen. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, we can, but at the same time, it wouldn't be a coincidence anymore.
Yeah, you've ruined the very premise that you were trying to set
How
up.
strange would it be if you randomly released that exactly my birthday, which is this day?
Anson and ZJ say #Dink for soup. Thank you guys for the support.
Mm-hmm.
Anson says, like the other guy said last episode, gotta watch Andor. It does exist within the arcs. Not fast-paced. First 2 episodes have rather abrupt endings, but episode 3... God, we really got to get on Andor. People are really on our case about this.
Yeah, people are... Yeah. This is a pain and gain kind of situation.
User ZJ1, bunch of letters and numbers, suggests Cobra Kai and Jerry Maguire. I've heard great things about both. Daniel says, another really great and enjoyable episode. Keep up the truly Swarms-esque work. What an insult. God. But also, thank you, Daniel. And saying that real boxing fans don't enjoy YouTube boxing concern me, for I'm a pretty big fan of boxing, and I really like the YouTube boxing scene. #Dink for soup. What happened to the poorly planned podcast tattoo that Freddie was going to get last summer? #Rare Dwayne L.
Yeah.
You got some explaining to do, buddy.
Again, as you well know, some stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I then ran out of budget.
It happens.
And now I'm pretty much just waiting to get that budget back, and it'll happen any time.
All right, I'll believe it when I see it. And also, for the record, us making fun of the YouTube boxing thing, I mean, don't take it too much to heart, because as much as I am a combat sports savant and I mock the YouTube boxing, I do also watch all the events, so, like, really, who's kind of in denial here? But yeah, no.
Yeah, anyone who watches real martial arts and fighting sports, don't watch YouTube boxing.
Yeah.
Except every single day after.
Did you see the KSI event?
There's been, every single day after there's been an event, you're like, you see the Swarms assault?
The Swarms assault. So yeah, no, don't take that to heart. I do low-key like both. NMS's birthday was January 15th, but the pod came close enough, so I consider it as such. I actually watched Pain and Gain for my birthday last year, and that's where I got the idea to suggest it, so timing was perfect. My God, this is really... We really did something here. But happy birthday, NMS. That's incredible. He also says, the double Colin Farrell feature in this pod. Love the range in his movie roles. The Batman, the Gentleman, Horrible Bosses, Minority Report. Also would like to point out, the Dwayne Johnson OnlyFans is secretly a prequel to Pain and Gain, which I would love to watch, actually. Just him in the sex shop, the whole movie. Jaden says,
him in the sex shop.
would love it if episode 200 was not released on the Poorly Planned podcast channel, but instead on the FDK Gaming, with the end of the pod, Freddy announcing that the channel will be reborn with videos about Freddy's Anime Hour, so BHL no longer has to listen to him talking about them on the pod. # Return of the King. I have, some of that sounds great, specifically the last part. First part I'm not so sure about, but...
Might improve our views.
We may be on to something here. And Cal W says the menu had the best looking cheeseburger ever made. Very true. Kind of spoilers.
Very true. That cheeseburger looked so good.
I would love to munch. I'd love to nosh it.
I'd love to nosh on that cheeseburger.
And on the
cheesebagussy.
On the fan page made by Joe C, there is #Dink for soup. So we appreciate that request granted.
That is
on our
very,
part.
very cool.
Thank you.
A beautiful Photoshop.
With all that in mind, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, comment down below your favorite movie villains, what you thought of Puss in Boots, and what if you would like to eat Tom Cruise's cake, the dessert to be specific. Also your thoughts on the pod. You can also find us, so we're on YouTube. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if that's where you consume your podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating, a nice review. Tell your friends about the pod. They'd love it as much as Tom Hanks loves munching on that cruise. Ass.
AKA addicted.
You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson, Instagram, Twitter, BHL_Hudson, TikTok, BHL Hudson, Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson. You can email the pod at bhlhudsonvids@gmail.com. All these links are down below.
Ooh, you can find me on Twitter at FTK_AdultSniper. You can find me on, what's the next one? Instagram at Fidelgard, Letterboxd at FTK_Thwilms, and on YouTube at FTK Space Gaming.
Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Cruise cake.